ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, so we're reading from Teachings of Queen Kunti, Chapter 4, Approaching Krishna, the all-pervading truth. कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda, and the other cowherd men of Vrindavana, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. So Kunti Maharani, she glorified Krishna's supreme position in two verses and then said, how can we understand you? And then she is describing Krishna with relation to his dear devotees. The Lord being thus unapproachable by any material assets, out of unbounded meaning there is no limit, and causeless mercy, descends on the earth as he is in order to show his special mercy upon his unalloyed devotees and to diminish the upsurges of the demoniac persons. So he's unapproachable by any material assets, meaning you cannot say that I have some education, I have some money, I have some position, I have some this, I have that, so Krishna accept me. No, we cannot approach him by material assets. How can we approach him? By unalloyed devotional service. Unalloyed means pure, not mixed with any alloy, meaning it is pure. So out of unbounded and causeless mercy, unbounded, his mercy is unbounded, meaning there is so much of mercy to be got. And it is causeless, it doesn't have any cause as such, meaning you cannot say that I did this, so Krishna has to reciprocate. No. Sometimes we do such a small service and Krishna reciprocates in such a huge way. So there is nothing, there is no cause, there is no rational, there is no logic for that mercy. It's just that Krishna has to be pleased. So in order to show his special mercy, why does he descend? In order to show his special mercy upon his unalloyed devotees. So this special mercy is unbounded and causeless. So we should understand this very important thing, because many times we keep thinking, praying, okay, Krishna, give me mercy, Krishna, give me mercy. Krishna has unbounded, causeless mercy to give. He is ready to give. We have to be prepared to take it. And also to diminish the upsurges of the demoniac persons. Who are demons? Namam dushkritino moda prapadyante naradama na maya paratagnana asuram bhavamashrata. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, demoniac persons are dushkritina, evil-minded. And they're intelligent people, but evil-minded, meaning they don't want to follow the order of the Lord. They don't want to follow the plan of the Lord. They create their own plans, which are going against the plans of Krishna. So they are demons. So 99% of, or most of the population of Kali Yuga are demons, because they don't want to align with the plans of the Lord. And that is why there is so much of suffering. There's so much of suffering in Kali Yuga, because people just are trying to be independent of Krishna. So, and that is why he descends. Queen Kunti specifically adores the incarnation or descent of Lord Krishna above all other incarnations, because in this particular incarnation he is more approachable. So he is more approachable because he just became a common boy. He became a common boy and available to everybody as Lord Rama, he was a son of a king and he was a Kshatriya, and but here Krishna just comes out into the public, literally, like just becomes like one ordinary cowherd boy. So he's more approachable. In fact, and this is something that very difficult to understand for many people. Um, how approachable is Krishna? So we discuss this. There's another scripture called Brihad Bhagavatamrita where there is Gopakumara. And Gopakumara goes to Vaikuntha and he sees Lord Narayana. But we cannot go and approach Lord Narayana. We cannot go and sit beside him and talk to him, and like devotees in Golok Vrindavan can do. They can sit with Krishna, they can eat food with Krishna, they can dance with Krishna, they can laugh with Krishna. So Krishna is very approachable. In fact, he's more approachable in this particular form. Mm. Actually, that is why, this is a very, high topic, that the devotion in Vaikuntha is more of Aishwarya and respect and adoration. But the devotion in Goloka is based on sweetness, is based on just pure love without even knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Such an exalted platform of love. So he's more approachable. He's more approachable and he's ready to do whatever it takes to please his devotees, unalloyed devotees, pure devotees. Krishna became charioteer of Arjuna because Arjuna is very dear to Krishna. In the Rama incarnation, he remained a king's son from his very childhood, but in the incarnation of Krishna, although he was the son of a king, he at once left the shelter of his real father and mother just after his appearance and went to the lap of Yashoda Mai to play the part of an ordinary cowherd boy in the blessed Vrajabhumi, which is very sanctified because of his childhood pastimes. And these childhood pastimes cannot be experienced elsewhere. It is experienced only in Vrajabhumi. And this childhood pastimes is another chapter altogether, as in the sweetness of his childhood pastimes. Even Parikshit Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, all pastimes of Krishna are glorious. His Purusha avatars, the whole creation, his other Leela avatars, Guna avatars, everything. But nothing can compare to his childhood pastimes because he's just in the mood of a normal, almost looks like a normal human child, ordinary human child. So these childhood pastimes are not seen anywhere, not even in Goloka Vrindavan. Therefore, Lord Krishna is more merciful than Lord Rama. He was undoubtedly very kind to Kunti's brother Vasudeva and the family. Had he not become the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, Queen Kunti could not claim him to be her nephew and thus address Krishna in parental affection. But Nanda and Yashoda are more fortunate because they could relish the Lord's childhood pastimes, which are more attractive than all other pastimes. There's no parallel to his childhood pastimes as exhibited at Vrajabhumi, which are the prototypes of his eternal affairs in the original Krishna Loka, described as the Chintamani Dhama in the Brahma Samhita. Lord Sri Krishna descended himself at Vrajabhumi with all his transcendental entourage and paraphernalia. Descended himself out of Vrajabhumi. So from Goloka, from his original Krishna Loka, he descended himself to Bhauma Vrindavana, to Vrindavana on this Bhumi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore confirmed that no one is as fortunate as the residents of Rajabhumi, and specifically the cowherd girls who dedicated their everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. And this part is very difficult to understand. How the gopis dedicated their everything for the satisfaction of the Lord, though it might seem like they're actually doing everything for their own sense gratification or their own satisfaction. Actually, they didn't do anything except satisfying Krishna. This is the most exalted platform of devotion. It's very difficult to understand. Today, for example, if somebody is um, dressing themselves very nicely, etc., etc., 150 times they would have seen themselves in the mirror to see how people, what people will think, what people will comment, how am I looking in front of public. This is what our mood will be, you know. But beauty about the gopis are they are the most beautiful women in the whole of creation. And they do everything, whether they dress, whether they decorate themselves, whether they some makeup on themselves, whatever it is they are doing. It is simply for the satisfaction of Krishna. Simply. Not even remotely do they have any thought of wanting to do it for their own pleasure. And this is the topmost. This is the topmost. Right? See, it's very easy to understand. Somebody who has beauty will just use it for, their own advantage, or they're always conscious about their beauty, and they're trying to dress, present themselves, etc., and just thinking how they're looking. But the most beautiful women in the whole universe, whole creation, yeah. Okay, what do you say, creation in the whole spiritual and material worlds? Their only intention is to satisfy Krishna, right? And in spite of all difficulties that they face, which is practically they are not allowed to openly serve Krishna, openly love Krishna because of the situation, environment created there by Krishna's Yoga Maya, Leela Shakti. So they are not even allowed to openly worship Krishna, openly serve him. And in spite of all difficulties, in spite of all the risk that they are taking, they're doing it just for the satisfaction of Krishna. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayor Dasa 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 Anudasa. So it is it's a most exalted position to be. And most people don't understand the exalted position of gopis. In fact, I was hearing some lectures on Sri Radha Katha by my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, and he was saying that most sampradayas also don't understand this. They're okay with Krishna in Goloka, Krishna Loka, yes, okay. Even Madhva Sampradaya accepts. But they can't understand Krishna holding on to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. They can't understand that. So it's the most exalted platform of devotion. His pastimes with Nanda and Yashoda and his pastimes with the cowherd men, and especially with the cowherd boys and the cows, have caused him to be known as Govinda. It gives pleasure to the cows and the senses of all the other Vrajavasis. And Lord Krishna's Govinda is more inclined to the Brahmanas and the cows. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya. Indicating thereby that human prosperity depends more on these two items, namely Brahminical culture and cow protection. See, this Brahminical culture is very important. Prabhupada said that he wanted to create a section of society who are going to be Brahmanas. That was his intention. He said, well, at least there should be one group which is Brahminical and which will uphold Brahminical culture. So we are supposed to, ISKCON is supposed to lead the Brahminical culture. And today, unfortunately, there is absolutely no understanding, no importance, no practice of required standards. In fact, Other Vaishnava Paramparas, they seem to practice at a much higher level, Brahminical Brahminical practices, cleanliness, following rules and regulations, etc., than ISKCON. We somewhat thought that we have transcended all this. We have transcended this Brahminical stage. We are pure Vaishnavas. And Prabhupada has said so many times that pure Vaishnavas means they are Brahmanas first, then only Vaishnavas. So we should understand that we should also, in somehow, in smaller or bigger part, be part of, upholding this Brahminical culture within the society. And of course, cow protection. There are so many groups now who are involved in cow protection, which is good. But there shouldn't be any ulterior motive in cow protection just for the pleasure of Krishna. Lord Krishna is never satisfied where these are lacking. So we should understand Brahminical culture has to be upheld. Otherwise, Krishna is not satisfied. Prabhupada is very clearly writing. In the beginning of her prayers, Kunti Devi said, Namaste Purusham Tvadyam Ishwaram Prakrite Param. I offer my obeisances unto the person Purusha who is Prakrite Param. Prakrite Param means beyond this material manifestation. Thus, in the beginning, Kunti Devi gave us the understanding that God is the Supreme Purusha, the Supreme Person. He is not impersonal. He is a person, but he is not a person of this material world or this material creation. And he does not have a material body. This is to be understood. The poor fund of knowledge held by the impersonalists cannot accommodate how the supreme absolute truth can be a person. Because whenever they think of a person, then they think of a person of this material world. That is their defect. Why should God be a person of this material world? Therefore, in the beginning, Kunti Devi cleared away this misunderstanding by saying that the Lord is Prakrite Param, beyond this material creation. Yet he is a person, Purusha. And now by the grace of Kunti, we can understand that this Supreme Person, although Alaksham, invisible, has now visibly appeared as Krishna. Kunti Devi says, Krishnaya Vasudevaya. The word Vasudeva is sometimes understood to mean the all-pervading. So this is from Krishna comes Balaram, from Balaram comes Vasudeva. That Vasudeva is this all-pervading aspect of Krishna. So sometimes Vasudeva is understood to mean all-pervading. The impersonalists have this conception of Vasudeva, and therefore Kunti Devi points out Vasudeva, that Vasudeva, the all-pervading, is Krishna. It's not Vasudeva. That Vasudeva, the all-pervading, is Krishna. And also in Sanskrit, Vasudeva, Vasudevasya Sutaha Vasudeva. So Vasudeva is the son of Vasudeva. So that way also, who is the son of Vasudeva is Krishna. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is present in everyone's heart. Thus, he is all-pervading. And of course, he enters every atom, Anu. So he is all-pervading. Krishna, the original person, exists in three features: as the Supreme Person of Godhead, as the all-pervading Paramatma, Supersoul, and as the impersonal Brahman effulgence. See, please understand, exists in three features. Simultaneously is existing in all these three features. Those who are interested in Bhakti Yoga have no interest in the impersonal Brahman effulgence, which is for common men. And this Brahman effulgence is coming from Krishna's body only. If one were an inhabitant of the sun, what interest would he have in the sunshine? That would be the most insignificant for him. Similarly, those who are advanced in spiritual life are not interested in the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Rather, they're interested in Purusha, the Supreme Person, Vasudeva. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, this realization of the Supreme Person takes place after many, many births. Bhavanam Janmanam Ante Gnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Vasudeva Sarvam. That Vasudeva is everything. That happens after many, many births. So if we have come to the stage of accepting Krishna as everything, then that means that we have gone through all this jnana process, karma process, Vedic process, everything we have gone through. And only after that we have come to this stage. The Gnani is the impersonalists who are attached to the Brahman effulgence, try to understand the absolute truth by dint of their knowledge, but they do not know that their knowledge is imperfect and limited, whereas Krishna, the absolute truth, is unlimited. We cannot approach the unlimited by our limited knowledge. That is not possible. So everybody else except bhaktas have an incomplete understanding of the absolute truth. Imperfect, incomplete understanding. Because it's only a partial understanding. Partial understanding doesn't give complete understanding, or it is not perfect. We don't say they're wrong, but they're partial. By the grace of devotees like Kunti Devi, we can understand that the all-pervading absolute truth, Vasudeva, Paramatma, is present as Krishna. The realization of Vasudeva is not possible for impersonalists very easily. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhavanam Jamanamante Gnanavan Mam Prapadyate. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Durlabha means difficult. Sudurlabha means very, very difficult. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. All that is meaning all that is in existence, all that is known, all that is understood, everything. Such a great soul is very rare. The word Mahatma means broad-minded. One who cannot understand Krishna is not broad-minded, but cripple-minded. If one becomes broad-minded, then by the grace of Krishna, one can understand Krishna. See, this broad-mindedness, we should understand. So there are two things. There is cripple-minded or narrow-mindedness and broad-mindedness. So on material platform also we should understand this, because first of all we have to transcend that material narrow-mindedness. This material narrow-minded means selfishness. Aham mama, I and mine. This is material narrow-mindedness. Then there is spiritual narrow-mindedness, where people think at Brahman and think this is all, or people look at demigods and say they are all supreme. This is our narrow-mindedness, meaning lack of, this narrow-mindedness is due to lack of complete knowledge. So we have to become broad-minded. And broad-minded means first, we say be broad-minded. Here, listen to what people are saying. So first of all, we should hear from Shastra, authorized, coming through authentic parampara. With a broad mind, saying that, okay, let me hear, let me not come with some preconceived notions. Let me hear what Shastra is saying. So one who hears like that, he becomes a Mahatma. He understands Krishna's position and accepts. When he understands Krishna's position and accepts him, actually he becomes broad-minded then. He is the Mahatma. But to come to that stage, we have to give up all this low-class, selfishness. I've seen so many times, suppose say we are in a queue, prasadam queue. First, we will only worry about ourselves. We will never look this side and that side, see, is there somebody else who is possibly needs to be served better, right? Than, for example, maybe there's an old person, maybe there's an elderly devotee, maybe there are some children, mothers with children, or somebody who is unwell. We just don't think at all. Oh, my stomach, I'm hungry, let me go get prasadam. That's all. And we are also so narrow-minded with respect to how people, somebody says something to us, they'll say, oh, see, this person is so bad. And we never think about what our behavior is, how we are treating that person. But we only look at others and say, judge them. It's narrow-mindedness. Now we have to become broad-minded. Krishna's devotees means broad-minded. We put ourselves at the end of everything. We have to put ourselves at the end. If we don't do that, then how can we understand Krishna? Krishna is so broad-minded. Krishna puts his devotees in front. Krishna glorifies his devotees. He doesn't take credit. He gives credit to his devotees. He is not worried about his position, name. Oh, the whole world is talking ill about me, about my relationship with gopis. He doesn't care. He says, for the devotion that the gopis are showing to me, I don't have anything to return. I don't have anything to give back in return. So it's okay. If because of that my name is tarnished in the society, it's okay. He's so broad-minded, just for the pleasure of his devotees. See, we should understand we can't go to Krishna unless we know we are all part and parcel of Krishna. So we have all these qualities, but these qualities are now not manifest because it's just completely covered by false ego, by this selfishness, I and mine. So only when all this gets eradicated and our real self, which is the Atma, manifests, and that Atma has all these qualities of Lord in small quantities, but all these qualities should become manifest in us. Only then Krishna will accept us fully. I mean, that time we can enter Goloka. So we have to become conscious about these things. So in all our dealings, we have to see. I mean, am I broad-minded? Am I narrow-minded? We have to see, and we have to slowly come out of all this pettiness of this material world. So many things, even in a Krishna conscious society, there are so many things which are so petty. People say, oh, that devotee didn't talk to me. No, I'm not going to talk to that devotee. It's some super pettiness. Anyway, so the message is that we have to become broad-minded. Only then we can know Krishna, we can surrender to Krishna, we'll know Krishna. Surrendering to Krishna means following his instructions. And Krishna is saying, give him the aham and mama. Then only we can become broad-minded. The process of understanding Krishna is sevon mukha, by rendering service. Sevon mukhe hi jihvadau. Realization of Vasudeva is possible by rendering service, beginning with the tongue. The tongue has two functions, to vibrate and to taste. So if one repeatedly hears and vibrates the Hare Krishna mantra and tastes prasada, food offered by Krishna, by this very simple method, one will realize Vasudeva Krishna. See, please note this. In this one statement, the whole practice of Krishna consciousness is, like hidden. See, one who hears and vibrates Hare Krishna mantra. Now, what Prabhupada is not explicitly mentioned here is that one should hear and vibrate Hare Krishna mantra purely on the platform of Shuddha Nama. Purely, meaning that it has to be without offenses, which are called Nama Parada. So, Nama Parada, the main Nama Parada is this concept of I and mine. So, till this selfishness, false ego remains, we will be on the platform of Nama Parada. Then we cannot realize Vasudeva. So, to be able to chant purely, we have to live purely, for which you have to eat only prasada. If we eat non-prasadam, our mind is contaminated. The mind is contaminated, then we cannot realize Krishna. And that's why we get very affected when devotees are not able to eat prasadam. They themselves are not so worried, but we are worried. Because they can't make progress. So, honor only prasadam, food offered to Krishna. Chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra purely, which means that live a pure life. Don't live life for sense gratification. Live life to please Krishna. Then we can realize Krishna. It's a very simple method. Prabhupada is saying it's a very simple method. And the beauty of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is when we are trying to sincerely chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, The power of the mantra will actually help us to come out of all these anarthas. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. If we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra properly and taste and honor only Krishna Prasadam, we'll automatically make progress. If somebody is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra for a long time, but still their anarthas have not gone, it is very easy, simple to understand that they are not chanting properly. They are not chanting sincerely. But if somebody simply chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra properly and honors Krishna Prasadam, he will realize Vasudeva Krishna. And Prabhupada is saying Krishna will reveal himself. It is not that by our endeavor alone we can understand Krishna, but our endeavor in loving service will make us qualified. And then Krishna will reveal himself. Swayameva Spurati Yada. Krishna has to reveal himself. There is no, we can't barge into Goloka. We can't just force our way into force our way into Goloka. But we have to endeavor in loving service. And this loving service, like I keep saying, loving service means pure service, without any intentions for, either material return or some prosperity or name, fame. By consistently doing that, we will become qualified. And then Krishna will reveal himself. So we have to be very wary about the tongue. We talk so much nonsense. Things not connected to Krishna. And that's not going to help us to realize perfection. Tongue has to be purified. So by chanting Hare Krishna and by honoring Prasadam, tongue becomes purified. Eventually it will stop talking about other people. Stop, back talking, commenting about others, talking, then tongue will be purified and it will glorify. It will glorify everybody. We will only see the good things in others. We should come to that stage. Today we only see the bad things in others. But simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mantra and honoring Prasadam, we can come to that stage. Okay, so I'm going to stop here because this is a long purport. But beautiful, such a beautiful purport. That's why I keep saying, just immerse into, and by all your mercy, I'm able to immerse myself more into these, purports which I read long time back. So I should first thank all of you because it's so beautiful actually. When we're reading in the Association of Devotees, actually this is this is the advantage of preachers. When we're preaching based on the mood of the hearers, actually we also go. Krishna gives us mercy to go deep into the discussion, and we get purified more than the hearers. So everybody should take the opportunity to and preach to others. We're just repeating what Prabhupada is saying, nothing new. I'm not saying anything new. Either Prabhupada has said in the same purport or he has said in some other purport. And just it has to just register in our head and we have to just repeat it. And Prabhupada says, okay, don't repeat like a parrot. Have some realization. Meaning, when we put those things into practice in our life, we will realize. Realization basically simply means experience, real experience. Right? Like, so for example, okay, Krishna is there. How we'll understand Krishna is reciprocating. Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stataiva pajamyam. Now we can see Krishna reciprocating when we are engaging in his service. So we are experienced. No, that is realization. That is realization. That is self-realization. I am self, I am Atma, and Krishna is my master. And I did this service, and as Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, he reciprocated. So I realized this statement. That means I practically experienced this statement. That's all we have to do. Hear Prabhupada, read Prabhupada's books, dive into those purports, and simply repeat it to others. And also practice them in our lives. That's all. Perfection. Path to perfection. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. If anybody has any questions, you can kindly ask.
Prabhuji, as you said that these childhood pastimes are only in Braj only. So
Sorry,
in
Mataji, your voice is a bit low.
yes, uh, Prabhuji, as you stated, like these childhood pastimes are manifested only in Braj only,
Yeah.
in the material world. Then in Goloka, like Krishna is in his eternal youthful form.
Yeah. So, okay. So this is a very complicated question, complicated answer, maybe. So for see, Krishna is ready to manifest any of his forms for his devotees. So, for example, now uh, if so in Vallabha Sampradaya they are worshipping Krishna as a child, right? Now, and it's not that then Krishna is not present in Goloka. He is present, but so it's like this, like Yashoda Mata is looking at. So Krishna never takes birth as such, like in the material world. But what happens is sometimes this Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in Jaiva Dharma, like there are these experiences which are created by Yogamaya, so that it looks like some of these things are happening there. Um, so Krishna's childhood pastimes are also there, but for us Gaudiya who are following the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, we don't look at Krishna. We look at Krishna in his Kaishora, which is 13, 14 years, 13, 14, 15 years age, right? And we look at him at that age. So we don't look at anything else. And so for our acharyas, that is why, this is a very complicated answer. It's very difficult to even understand, even if I'm saying it's all there, but it only revealed to those devotees who require. It's like that. So from our perspective, it's not there, but from some other parampara, it is there, right? Like that. But how it is present is also very difficult to understand. That's why sometimes Prabhupada said many of these complex questions. He said, "Go there and experience it." Mm. So while Krishna is all his different ages are there in eternally, they're eternally present. So there is Pauganda eternally, there is Kaishora eternally, there is Palya eternally. But uh, how they manifest, where they manifest, to whom they manifest, that is left to Krishna and Krishna's Leela Shakti, Yogamaya. But from our perspective, but of course, I mean, Krishna doesn't take birth. Krishna, because if he takes birth, then what before that? Is there like a world without Krishna existing? Because that's his eternal abode. So Krishna is always present. So some of these are very difficult to understand. How he's always present. He doesn't take birth, yet there are childhood pastimes. Yeah, inconceivable. But all of this is true. Our limited intelligence
Yes,
cannot
Prabhuji.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, Prabhuji, we heard like in Golok they have just rumors of demons, like uh,
Yeah.
on the maybe
Yeah, which is
and one
what I said. Yeah. So it's like some situation like that created,
Maya situation.
mental state which is created. Yeah,
Yes.
by Yogamaya.
And one
Yeah.
more query, Prabhuji, like in this Gopal Shampoo, what Snegdikant and Madhukant are narrating, they are all this Vrindavan, Brajbhumi pastimes of the earthly like manifestation.
See, actually, yeah, most of the scriptures that we have are expanding on Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam is actually narrating the Bhauma, the pastimes of Krishna on this earth, right? And in Jayavadharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that there is no difference between these Goloka and Gokula, as in Bhauma and the spiritual world. So that's why I said it's there, it's not there. So it's a very complex thing. It's possibly only at the stage of know complete purity, maybe when Krishna reveals these things. At least at my level of purity and maturity in bhakti, I won't be able to answer. But from whatever I've read so far, it's same. It's non-different yet different. How it is different? There are few aspects which are different. Like, for example, I mean, it's a very complex topic. I don't know how many of us will be able to understand, appreciate this. For example, in Bhauma Vrindavana, uh, uh, say the like one thing is like the demons are there. There is a it's called Spurti or yeah, something like that. So it's like they have a feeling that there's a demon who's come, right? Like that. In Bhauma Vrindavana, gopis are married to some gopas. But actually these gopas are what is called as abhimana, again a kind of mental state in Goloka. So there are differences, but it is just somewhat like you can think of like gross and subtle kind of difference. But it's there here also, it's there also, but it's not there as in it's not there in like reality, but it's there possibly as yeah, I mean it's a very difficult thing to explain. Like Spurti, Abhimana, you can on these two concepts you can understand it's like a state of mind. You can think of like that. Think of it like that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else has any other questions?
Prabhuji, you are saying that Yoga Maya, and I don't know who is Yoga Maya and Maya.
Okay, so there are two Shaktis of actually one Shakti only, Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya is the spiritual internal energy. She is responsible for all Krishna's pastimes in the spiritual world. And Yoga Maya appears in material creation as Mahamaya. So Yoga Maya bewilders pure devotees and they forget that Krishna is the Supreme Lord in Goloka. And Mahamaya bewilders conditioned souls and they forget that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and they want to become Supreme Lord themselves. So Yoga Maya works in connection with devotees both in the material and spiritual world. Mahamaya works only in the material world with connection with non-devotees.
Okay.
Mahamaya is Durga, external energy.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Okay, then we'll conclude here. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनन्तकोटि वैष्णववृन्द की जय, जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, can I ask something? I just have a doubt.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, please.
Prabhuji, the external energy, like Yogmaya is Krishna's internal energy. So you cannot, but the living entity, can they become Mahamaya? Because see, Shivji is cannot die, but Parvati keeps dying. Durga keeps repeating. So
That's a good question.
sorry.
See, so so anything within the material world, apart from, so there are three tattvas. So there's Vishnu tattva, there's Shiva tattva, and there's Jiva tattva. Anybody who is in the who belongs to this Jiva tattva has a birth and death.
Yes.
Right. So all demigods have birth and death.
Yes.
So all demigods. So that manifestation of that Yoga Maya as Mahamaya is a role. We can think of it as a role, right? Like Brahma is a role, right? So it's not an eternal person. It's not an eternal person. So it's a role that the energy manifests in that person who becomes qualified. Like, see, Brahma is the creator, but actually Brahma is the engineer. The ability for Brahma to create is actually given by Krishna. It's instilled by Krishna, right? So that position, whoever reaches that position will automatically get that power, right? To manifest that energy. Like, today there's a prime minister. Now, anybody who becomes qualified to become prime minister, now he gets all the power that is there in the hands of a prime minister. It's like that.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Right. So Durga also is, yeah, she's a Jiva, right? So she will have appearance and disappearance.
Yes. So we can also become Durga, like how we can come after Brahma.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's a,
Yeah,
it's a role,
yeah,
it's a role played.
yeah. It's a role play.
It's an energy
Actually,
to
pretty much except like Shiva and Vishnu, everything else is a role play.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Shiva is a very complex tattva because Shiva is same but not same. It's
Same.
like that,
Yes,
you know. So he's a special person, but all other jivas is a role. Is a role. There is no permanent stake. Nobody can put a stake on the position.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay. It was Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripasindhu Bhyacha Patitanam Bhakti Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Ananta Koti Vaishnavindaki Jai Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.